And I remember I just dropped to the floor and
I immediately went to the FBI.
A North County couple's American dream quickly turned into a nightmare after wiring nearly $800,000 to who they thought was their escrow agent. Instead, all of that money went to a scammer.
Kevin and Nicole North were in the process of purchasing a home in Carlsbad. They had a 1-year-old son. They had saved a down payment of $775,000, $60% of the purchase price. They had done everything correctly. They had engaged professionals. They had followed the process. They were days away from ownership. The home was not an investment abstraction. It was a future made tangible, a yard for their son, schools for his education, space for a sibling. The purchase represented not just financial planning, but family planning, the physical infrastructure of a life they intended to build. The down payment was the conversion of years of savings into the first step of that construction. The wire transfer is the moment where real estate transactions become vulnerable. Large sums move electronically, authorized by instructions delivered through email. The process is routine. Millions of transactions complete successfully every year. The normalcy of the procedure is precisely what makes it exploitable. A hacker gained access to communications from the escrow company. This is the point of entry. An employee sent official wire instructions via unsecured email, legitimate documents missing only the account number. The hacker duplicated that document. The formatting was identical. The language was identical. The only addition was the account information, numbers that routed to a Bitcoin exchange company rather than the escrow account. Nicole received what appeared to be authentic instructions from her escrow agent. The document matched previous communications. The timing aligned with the expected closing schedule. The request was exactly what she anticipated receiving. The process succeeded because it aligned with normal behavior. She was not responding to something unexpected. She was completing a step she had been told would come. $775,000 moved in a single transaction. The wire completed. The money arrived, not at the escrow company, but at an account controlled by someone who had inserted themselves invisibly into the process. By the time anyone realized the transfer had been misdirected, the funds had already begun their journey through intermediary accounts, ultimately landing in Singapore, beyond the practical reach of American law enforcement.
Yeah, and as far as that couple can tell, it's in somebody's account in Singapore. Now, Kevin and Nicole North thought by now they'd be the proud owners of a brand new, expansive Carlsbad home. But today they're living with family in Solana Beach, wondering how so many clues could slip through the cracks and let this scammer get away with it.
It's Kay. Oh.
These days, 1-year-old Declan is the only one who can keep his parents positive. Otherwise, Kevin and Nicole Noor are tormented.
We can't sleep. Last night you had a nightmare.
The couple is living a nightmare. They're staying with family in Solana Beach at a time they thought they'd be living the American dream.
All of this was for him, the house with the yard and the schools and so he could have a sibling.
But instead, their $775,000 down payment, 60% of the purchase price of a Carlsbad home, wired to a hacker posing as their escrow agent.
Then we get a phone call. Where did you send your wire? I said, to you guys. What do you mean to you guys?
Stunned, the Noors went to the FBI and are now retracing their steps. They take direct aim at an employee at their escrow company who sent official wire instructions minus the account number in an unsecured email. They say a hacker got access to that email and duplicated that document, adding account numbers to a Bitcoin exchange company. Nicole says the bank never caught it, and escrow didn't alert her when she called to say she sent the money, even though they'd never told her where to send it. In that critical time, Nicole says the transfer could have been stopped.
The phone call is the moment of revelation. Where did you send your wire? The question itself contains the answer. The escrow company did not know where the money went because the money did not go to them. Nicole's response, to you guys, what do you mean to you guys? Captures the precise instant when understanding collapsed. She had called the escrow company after sending the wire. She informed them the transfer was complete. This is standard practice, confirmation that funds are in transit so closing can proceed. The escrow company received this call, acknowledged it, and then called back to schedule the notary for the following day. At no point did anyone mention that they had not received instructions. At no point did anyone verify that the account matched their records. This window, the hours between transfer and discovery, is the critical period. Wire transfers can sometimes be reversed or frozen if acted upon immediately. The bank processes the instruction. The receiving institution accepts the funds. But before those funds are withdrawn or forwarded, intervention remains possible. Nicole believes this intervention could have occurred. Instead, the escrow company scheduled a notary. The bank did not catch the discrepancy. The routing led to a Bitcoin exchange, a designation that might have triggered review in some systems, but apparently did not trigger review in this one. The infrastructure processed the transaction exactly as designed, indifferent to the destination, indifferent to the context, indifferent to the family whose future was being extracted in real time. The FBI is now involved. The agency reports that Californians are the primary targets of this specific fraud real estate wire interception. The state's high property values create high-value targets. A single successful interception can yield hundreds of thousands of dollars. The economics favor the attacker. Since 2013, Americans have lost more than $12 billion to these schemes. The money is now in Singapore. International jurisdiction makes recovery functionally impossible. The account holders are untraceable. The cryptocurrency exchange provides an additional layer of anonymity. The $775,000 that was meant to secure a home in Carlsbad has been distributed through systems specifically designed to resist the kind of scrutiny that might return it. The Norths have set up a GoFundMe. The platform designed for medical emergencies and community disasters is now being used to attempt partial recovery of a down payment lost to fraud. They are weighing legal options against the escrow company. They are living with family.
They called
They are
back to
not
tell me what
sleeping.
time the notary would be here the next day to sign our loan docs.
The couple now reeling, seeking their legal options, looking back on how something like this could happen.
And the couple has set up a GoFundMe. They asked us not to name the escrow company as they weigh their legal options. Now, the FBI says Californians are the biggest target of this scam. One way to protect yourself from this is not to accept wire instructions over email. Instead, call that escrow agent that you know that you've been working with and get that over the phone. For now, live in the newsroom, John Horn, 10 News.
Unbelievable.
Yep.
John, thank you. All right, this is not the first time 10 News has reported on hackers and scammers targeting people in escrow. Last July, we told you about a Carlsbad family who narrowly avoided giving their down payment to the wrong person. They were spared when their bank noticed that the routing numbers didn't match up. Real estate fraud is becoming an epidemic, too. The FBI says Americans have lost more than $12 billion to these scams since 2013. So here's what you can do to protect yourself. First, if you are in the process of buying a home, double and triple check everything. Don't respond to email requests for money. Instead, follow up with your realtor or your escrow agents on the phone and confirm they sent the message.
Kevin and Nicole North are living with family in Solana Beach. The home in Carlsbad that was meant to be theirs, the yard, the schools, the space for a sibling, belongs to someone else now, or perhaps to no one, waiting for a buyer whose wire transfer will actually arrive. Their son Declan is 1 year old. He is described as the only thing that keeps his parents positive. The weight of that description is difficult to absorb. A child who cannot yet understand what happened is carrying the emotional function of preventing his parents from collapsing entirely. The fraud occurred not through elaborate deception, but through the exploitation of ordinary process. An email was sent. A document was duplicated. An account number was added. The systems that were supposed to verify, to catch, to intervene, the escrow company, the bank, the wire transfer infrastructure, each performed their function without detecting that the function had been hijacked. Nicole dropped to the floor when she understood. The physical response is precise. The body registers what the mind cannot yet process. $775,000. Gone. A future that existed in floor plans and school district maps and the imagined sound of a child running through a yard, erased by a single wire transfer to an account that should never have received it. The escrow company scheduled a notary for the next day. The loan documents were ready to sign. The process continued as if nothing had happened, because no one knew anything had happened, because the systems that should have known did not know, because the infrastructure performed exactly as designed. The money is in Singapore, the family is in Solana Beach, the house is in Carlsbad, unsold, waiting.